Hey, hi, and howdy. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Courtney. If you're new, I do grocery hauls, what's for dinners, and these meal prep videos every week. I am prepping food for my family for the weekend so that I can just kind of kick back and relax with everyone. We are going to pull out the smoker, so let's jump right in. I'm going to make a pot of beans, so I start with 1 pound of dried, sorted, rinsed pinto beans, and I add in about 6 to 8 cups of water. And then I'm making charro beans, so I'm throwing in what I have in my fridge. A diced hatch chili, a diced onion, some garlic, and then I had some ham. If I had bacon, I'd have thrown that in. If I had ham bone, I'd have put that in. Chorizo's great. And then I season it with some extra onion powder and garlic powder and a little bit of smoked paprika just to kind of bring that smoky flavor all around with everything. And I just let them go in the slow cooker for quite a few hours. And now I'm going to move on to potatoes. So I am meal prepping KFC bowls because they meal prep and reheat beautifully. And I'm also making potato salad. So I've got a bunch of potatoes. I peeled them, I washed them, and I diced them up, and I'm putting them in the pot to boil, and I'll just separate them out for the 2 different dishes once they are done. All right, let's get to prepping on the meat. So this is something my husband and I have been wanting to smoke for a long time. This is a pork belly. I've never done it before. This was our first time, so it was kind of like our learning experience, but it was fantastic. So I'm just seasoning it with this candy bacon seasoning that I picked up at HEB. I'm sure there's a ton of brands that have similar seasonings out there, so just kind of put on whatever you want. I wanted something that was both sweet and savory, and this hits those notes. And so I just used this, and I am very, very generously covering all of the outside edges and sides and everything of this pork belly. Very, very generously, because this is going to sit in the smoker, and this is the only seasoning it's getting other than the smoke flavor from the smoker. So I really want to make sure it's on there really nicely and really thickly. It's not going to penetrate into the middle of the meat, but I want the flavor to carry over. Once that's done, I just wrapped this up and popped it in my fridge. We let this smoke for, I think it was between 10 and 12 hours on the smoker. The next day at about 150 to 175. All right, now we're gonna prep our next 2 meats, which are pork chops and pork ribs. I have 2 different Cooper seasonings I'm showing you there. The first one is from the other Coopers, which is not my favorite, but the seasoning's okay. The second one is from our favorite Coopers. Yes, there are 2 different Coopers chains in Texas. Our favorite one is the one that's at the Fort Worth Stockyards. I actually bought this while we were at the Stockyards. Their ribs are the best ribs I've ever had in my whole life. And I love their seasoning. I put it on a lot of different things. So I just popped it on the ribs this time. But right now we're starting off with these pork chops. I got these. They were a value pack on special at Market Street a few weeks ago. And I bought them with the intention of putting them on the smoker. So that is exactly what we're going to do. I'm using the first Cooper seasoning, which is fine. It tastes good, but it's not our favorite Coopers to eat at. And I'm just going to add in some extra garlic and onion powder and pepper because I felt like it didn't have enough pepper. We like things to be pretty peppery. And again, I am like very generously seasoning these. We really want them to have a lot of good flavor. And this is the only time I'm going to season them other than like maybe adding some barbecue sauce at the end if we want to. So I'm just going to very, very generously season these. And then we put these on the smoker, same time as the pork belly, 150 to 175. And I think they stayed out there about 5 hours. It might have been like 4.5. We left them out there for a decent amount of time because it takes a long time for them to like cook and the fat to break down and everything and for them to get beautiful. And then we just brought them inside and I sliced them up and they were divine. They tasted pretty similar to ham, like a really, really good ham. But we really like these, and so I would definitely do this again. It's a ton of meat. We actually have been like using it for lunches throughout the week as well. And I even shared a little bit with my dogs because, you know, we love them and they should have some as well. So once these were seasoned and everything, I popped these in the fridge. This is the evening before. It's Friday evening, so I'm getting this all ready so we can start smoking early Saturday morning. Now these are my ribs. These are pork back ribs. I had a second rack of ribs. They were Smithfield extra meaty pork ribs. But when I opened the package, I had just bought them. Like I had just purchased them at the store. It hadn't even been 24 hours. When I opened the package, they smelled absolutely rancid. It was awful. I did contact my grocery store and let them know that obviously something was wrong with that shipment because I had not even had them 24 hours. They just came right to my refrigerator. There was no reason for them to be absolutely rancid. So we only had the 1 rack of ribs today, and that ended up being fine because my oldest son was not here, so it was just my husband and I really that were eating on the ribs. Once these cook, they shrink quite a bit, so there's not as much meat there to eat, but it was a great meal for us, and we did have a little bit for the next day. I just seasoned them with the Cooper seasoning from the Coopers that we like at the Fort Worth Stockyards, and then I wrapped them in foil and popped them in the fridge. You did see me remove that like silver skin from the back because that is super tough. You want to take that off, just slip your knife under there to get it going, grab a paper towel to grip it, and pull it off, and that ensures that your ribs are going to be nice and tender. That stuff is super tough. It doesn't cook down. All right, so my potatoes are done. So we're going to start off by making potato salad. This is a take on, I cannot remember, Ina Garten. She has a recipe for potato salad. I'm kind of using my potato salad recipe and mixing it with hers. So I started off with some mayonnaise, and then I put some Dijon or some stone ground mustard in there. And then you can really kind of season it however you want. I like to put a lot of dill in there. You can put some other herbs in there if you want to, but I keep it pretty simple. Dill, salt, and pepper. And then right there I've got dill pickles, celery, and green onions. And that's it. That's all I'm going to put in there. I'm going to mix it up. It's not like super creamy when it's done because I don't like a ton of mayonnaise in there. But it's so good and it's so delicious. Oh, it's so fantastic. This is by far my favorite potato salad. Really, really divine, and it has an amazing flavor, and it's really fresh and summery. If you haven't tried it, I will list my recipe for how much I made this particular time down below, so you can try this at home. So I'm just pulling some of those potatoes out of my boiling pot of water there and putting them in the bowl and mixing it all in there. And this did not last long. Like I said, we love this potato salad. It is so good. I do like to mix everything together when the potatoes are hot because they will like really soak up all of that flavoring. Once I do that, I just let it sit on the counter and cool for a little bit before I put it in the fridge, just because it is like super duper hot. But I promise you there is such a huge difference in the flavor of your potato salad because those potatoes really soak it up so much better, and it just tastes absolutely amazing. Plus when the heat hits like the herbs and stuff in there, they release so much more of their flavor as well. I did do a taste test just to make sure it was on point, and it was. So we are done. We've got potato salad ready to go. Now we're going to hop over to the stovetop and get started on these mashed potatoes. I make these pretty often. I don't do it on my channel very often just because I've done it before and I feel like it's pretty simple. But if you've missed any of my videos where I did it before, this is my mashed potato recipe. I boil up a bunch of potatoes. I really like these gold potatoes. They just, to me, I think the flavor's a little bit better, but you can use whatever potatoes you like. Then I add in butter. I've got a ton of potatoes there, so I have a lot of butter. I do like to start mashing with just the butter and the potatoes. It kind of helps the butter melt into them a little bit better. I am using salted butter. You don't have to. That is my personal preference. But, you know, I am going to salt the potatoes some more later, but just so you know, that's what I use. And then heavy cream. If I don't have heavy cream, half and half is my next favorite choice. But I really do like heavy cream. Like, your potatoes are so rich and dreamy and creamy when you use heavy cream in them. I really feel like it is the way to go. I know it's a lot of fat, but like I said, we're not eating potatoes every single night. I do this once every week or two. And on this particular time, I was making those KFC bowls, which I did do about a week ago. My husband loves these things with the new gravy recipe that I tried the last time. So these are definitely going to be a staple for a while because I can make them with the rotisserie chicken I get at Sam's Club, which is like $4.98. So this is a steal. But that's it to my potatoes. Like I said, just season them with salt and pepper. I don't put anything else in there. I don't do garlic. I don't do Parmesan or any kind of shredded cheese. I keep it simple and classic, but these are really, really good. This is the way I've made mashed potatoes for a long time. I take it to all the family functions and stuff like that, and they're always a hit. All right, so for the KFC bowls, I also need some gravy, and this is the recipe that I tried recently. I got the original recipe from Southern Wife Everyday Life, I think it was. I saw her making these, and it was different than the recipe I had used in the past. I liked the KFC bowls just fine, but they weren't spectacular, and I really didn't get why everybody was all hyped up about them. Now that I tried this recipe, I get it. This gravy is so delicious, I think I could drink it. It's fantastic. So you start off by melting some butter, and you know it's going to be good with all that butter. You mix in your flour to create your roux, and then we're going to add two different types of stock, chicken and beef. Now, I don't keep beef broth in my house typically. Every once in a while, if it's on sale or something, I'll grab some for convenience, but typically I just keep beef base and chicken base or bouillon. On this particular day, I mixed my beef base, which is like a paste, in with the flour and butter mixture just so it can kind of melt in because it mixes in a little bit better that way. And then as you can see, I've got some broken up bouillon cubes in my water there, so I'm just going to mix all of that together, and that makes our two broths. I will link the original recipe for this down below. Now, I don't love bouillon cubes, but I had some in my pantry I needed to use, so this worked out fine. I didn't even realize I had them. I forgot they were in there, so we are definitely going to get those used up before they go bad. And they will dissolve in that gravy as it cooks and simmers. And then I like to add in pepper and dried parsley. That is it. This is absolutely amazing. It really is the two types of broth that bring it together and just make it taste fantastic. But again, I think I could drink it. So now we're going to assemble the KFC bowls. I always start off with the mashed potatoes on the very bottom. They're like, you know, the foundation of the whole deal. And I started off with these 5 containers and then realized, hey, I can fit 2 more. So I did. And then we're going to put some corn on there. I just opened the can and drained it and just started pouring the corn in there. I don't do anything fancy because we're going to reheat these as the weekend goes on. So I really didn't need to worry about getting fancy with it or anything like that. We're just going to pour it straight from the can into the bowls. It keeps it simple. You can put as much or as little as you want on there. 2 of these bowls had less corn on them just because I don't really like a whole ton of corn in mine. I like corn in general. I just don't like a ton of it in these bowls. So I did go a little less on the 2 glass bowls. I knew they had less of them, so those would be the ones that I reached for if I was going to have any. And then, of course, you want to top it with your chicken. And again, I'm using the rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club. So I had already pulled it off the bone, and I just went ahead and sliced up a couple of the chicken breasts. I had bought 3 of them because I also feed my dogs. The rotisserie chicken is the cheapest way to make their dog food, really, unless I can get chicken on sale somewhere. So I just did this and just sliced up the breast, and then I'm just putting, you know, a decent amount of slices in each one of the bowls. And of course, you just top that with the gravy. It is so easy. Now you can use the dark meat in here if you want. I know that I think at KFC they use the fried chicken. I'm not 100% on that because I really typically don't eat at KFC. I'm just kind of going off what I've seen online. So I think usually they do use fried chicken, but I've been making them with this rotisserie chicken here lately. And I got to say, I think that that is probably the way to go for us. We actually like it better. And I feel like the flavor of the rotisserie chicken with the gravy and stuff just mingles so much better than fried chicken would. So maybe that's just me, but we like it quite a bit. And if you are a Sam's Club member, make sure you're grabbing those rotisserie chickens because you cannot beat that price. So here I am just topping them with the gravy. And yes, I put a lot of gravy in there. Like I said, we could drink the gravy. It is so good. And I'm not really a gravy person either, but this stuff is like so good. If I end up making like the turkey or anything for Thanksgiving, I will definitely bring this gravy to the holidays. Just because it is fantastic and I want everybody to get to eat it because it is so good. It's not just great for these KFC bowls. Anytime you're going to have gravy, I think this is the way to go. I have the bone broth gravy mix in my pantry, and that's what I was serving with the rotisserie chickens on the weekends when I would get them. But I gotta say, this is so much better than that. And I thought that bone broth gravy was just like absolutely exquisite. It had so much flavor. But this, yeah, this tops even that. So that's it for the KFC bowls. These are already gone. They didn't last long. Everybody plowed right through them. My whole household loves them. They really are good, and they're so simple and great for meal prep. And there's the beans after they cooked for so many hours. I think it was like 6 hours or so. There they are. I did not mash these or anything. We're just eating them as beans. That was our grilling and chilling kind of weekend there. That's what we ate. I hope you guys enjoyed this meal prep that I did. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you for joining me here, and I will see you guys back soon for my What's for Dinner on Saturday. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.